Hey guys, what's going on? We're going to touch on the word equity. We already talked about this in a previous video when I talked about Biden's infrastructure plan was racist and retarded. Surprisingly, that didn't get taken down. I figured I was saying the R word, which has become one of the worst words you can ever say nowadays. I figured that would get flagged. Not as bad as the F word. No, I'm not talking about fuck. You can say fuck every third fucking word and it won't get censored. But if you say the 3-letter word or the 5-letter F word, boy, you are getting banned off of YouTube faster than a motherfucker. But okay, let's get on topic. I'm going to link an article to a WTOP article, which is a local news channel close to where I work, so I follow it, listen to it on radio and stuff, saying that 91% of people who police force was used against were black, and they claim this is a problem, and this is a claim of systemic racism. We need to solve this. Now, to any normal person, which there are exceedingly few to this day, but I know you guys are out there. You guys listen to my channel. I hope I meet normal people every once in a while on the internet or in person. That I have hope for this country, but there are not many of them. But beside the point, why do you think that is? Why do you think that of the people who were attacked by, not attacked by police used force against when trying to arrest them, 91% of them black? Why do you think that is the case? Now, if you're a liberal, I'm about to say the F word, if you're a liberal low T beta cuck who has no life and is brainwashed and literally only watches mainstream media, you would say that is a symptom of systemic racism. Well, the police are going after black people more. They hunt them down. They police their neighborhoods more, which is why, and they're just so fucking racist that's why they use force against them so much often. Anyone with brainstem, on the other hand, would say, okay, first of all, DC is 46% black. Okay, so almost half. Now you might say, well, if they weren't racist, then that means shouldn't they be used against police force roughly 50% of the time instead of 91%? No. Hold on. Hold your horses, laddies. I know you guys are all just frothing at the mouth to call me racist talking about this stuff, which apparently this is a normal conversation that anyone could have even fucking 10 years ago, but apparently it's racist now, just like everything else. Okay, we already know the tried and true stat that 13% of the population, the U.S. population, commits 53% of all violent crime. Every single violent crime you can think of. 13%, roughly, give or take a percentage point or two, 13% of the population commits that. We're talking about African Americans. But when you break that down more, you know, African American women don't commit that much crime in comparison to African American males. So really, it's more like half of 13%, which is 6.5-ish, give or take. Let's just bump up to 7 or 7.5 because there's some African American women who do commit these crimes. So it's about 7.5% of the population that commits all these crimes. But when you look even more, really, it's mostly African American men ages 13 to 35. We'll lump in women with them too. So really, we're talking about 4% of the population, give or take. I know you're going to quote me, check, it's not 4%, it's actually 3.9%. Whatever. All of this is widely available online through lots of different sources. I don't just pick some random website like this is the only place you can find this stat. It's a secret government thing, whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's the FBI releases it every single fucking year. Lots of websites congregate this information and put it together every single year. I'll link it all in the description so you won't say I'm making shit up. So we're talking about 4% of the population commits over half the violent crime. So you would think in a country of only that 4% of the population commits roughly half the amounts of murder, that if you had a city that is 46% black, wouldn't you think that there's going to be a fuck ton of violent crime produced by that community? And almost every single time, there are some exceptions obviously, but almost every single time police use force, it is when they're arresting someone for doing a major crime. They don't use force whenever you, I don't know, fucking jaywalk or a fender bender or what's a minor misdemeanor? I don't know, fucking litter or something like that. They usually don't use force against that. What do they use force against? When someone is violently, like a robbery, like an assault, like a rape, like a murder, something like that. That's when they usually attack people because they have to in order to stop them or in order to catch them. If they're trying to catch someone who committed this violent crime, whether it was an hour ago or 24 hours ago, usually this person does not want to be arrested by authorities. So they resist arrest, and you have to use force in order to arrest them. Wow, so maybe that makes more sense than that the system is systemically racist towards blacks, and, all races are equal, so therefore, white people commit just as much murder as black people. Is that the reason why they're arrested so much more? Because the police are racist, so there are all these white people getting away with all of these racist, violent crimes. The police just don't go after them a lot, so that's why the stats don't reflect that. So how would you solve this problem? Okay, if you're sitting there, a liberal idiot, and you're like, okay, we need to lower this 91% to roughly the demographic percentage so we don't seem racist. What's the only way to do that? What's the only way you could lower that percentage? By just not using force whenever a black person is committing crime. Like, so a black person is robbing someone and you have to physically stop them and arrest them in order to stop this crime. You're like, no, can't do it. I took a look at the stats. We have to let this one go in order to balance out the stats here. But every single white person who commits a crime, we're going to use force against, and that we're going to artificially lower and balance the stats. So at the end of the year, each demographic is used police force in proportion to their population. So black people would be used police force against 46% of the time. White people, I believe, are 45%, and everyone else is like 10% or something like that. You can look it up. But that's the only way you can do that. If you would find another way, or just make up crimes and pin it on white people, and use force against them. So like a black person commits robbery, now can't use force against them. Oh, they're running away. Oh, can't stop them. We'll just let them go. We can't mess with the sheets, man, or otherwise we're called racist. Oh, but this white guy littered, just beat the shit out of him. There, we balanced it. We're not racist. Like, are you kidding me? And here goes to the other point that I've been saying for years, and other people have been saying too. It's not just me. It's not like only one to figure this out. But Democrats see inequality of outcome as racist. So the fact that, black and white people aren't scoring the same on like test scores in school, or have the same income overall, or have the same quality of living, or access to healthcare, whatever, ABC, there's dozens and dozens, if not 100 plus different metrics you hear over the years. The reason why that's not equal is because of systemic racism. It's not that that's the sum totality of individuals making their choices in life and a bit of luck, a bit of randomness, because life is a part of luck and random. But it also is the sum termination of people's actions. So if a black person decides to rob 5 people over the course of a couple of years and finally gets caught, and the police rough him up when they arrest him, and the white person doesn't commit any crime throughout his life, that's not systemic racism. That's just the sum outcome of people's individual decisions. Systemic racism, in everyone else's opinion, except for radical leftists, would be rules in the system that favor one group over the other. And when you look at the system in this country, what do you see? You see program after program, fund after fund, initiative after initiative, rule after rule, law after law, again and again and again, that favor minorities over white people. We've seen this with every single thing that Biden is crapping out of his ass has equity in it. It has to be in proportion to the population. So access to healthcare, we're going to give more to minority communities because they have less access to healthcare. So fuck white people who just don't have access to a lot of healthcare. They're lumped in with super rich white people, in the category of whites who have access to healthcare. So they're doing fine. Fuck them. They have systemic privilege. They're fine. Grants when it comes to businesses. Oh, we're going to favor black people because they're only this percent of this industry and they only make this compared to white people. So we're just going to give more money to them. If it's one or two things in life, then it wouldn't be a big deal. If it was just, college admission, or if it was even though that's actually a pretty big thing, but like if it was just that one thing, then overall, a lot of people don't go to college, and a lot of your success and money making in life, college is only percentage of that. But this is every single program, every single industry, every single job, every single metric of your life is now going to be determined through equity. Now, for me, growing up, and everyone else on the planet, apparently, when there is a system that every single aspect you can see about it has written into law, or written into the program, or written into the funding, or written into the initiative, that it favors this one ethnic group over another ethnic group, then what is that called? That's called systemic privilege, which is what minorities constantly whine about that we whites apparently have, even though there is absolutely no law, initiative, program, funding, etc., whatever you can think of, that specifically benefits white people. On the other hand, us anti-racists who are seeing the increasingly racialized society that we are living in, I can name hundreds of programs, initiatives, fundings, rules in schools, rules in buildings, rules in jobs, in colleges, whatever. Like, I can just keep going and going and going, but I don't want this video to be like half an hour long. But you know what I mean? Like, every single thing you can think of when it comes to a metric of someone's life, they have things in place, they meaning the system, the business, the government, the school, the employer, whatever, that benefits minorities over white people. So I just get so infuriated that this is the society that we are creating. We are creating something like South Africa, like an apartheid system. We have one rule for one ethnic group and a whole set of other rules for the other ethnic group. That is not a country I want to live in. We had a civil war to avoid having a society like that. Countries are torn apart by ethnic strife like that. South Africa, the Balkanization of Yugoslavia into different ethnic groups who are all racist for each other and committed genocide against each other. Pick your pick of history where in a country they favor one ethnic group over the other. It always leads to strife. But unfortunately, the country has been taken over by a cult for quite some time now, insidiously, slowly over the decades, slow that we wouldn't notice it, but it's stark and apparent for quite some time now. We are taken over by a cult that is racist towards white people and is using their systemic privilege and power to make every single rule against us and every single rule to favor minorities. I know you think I'm some cringe conspiracy theorist, some wacko YouTuber who believes that, but this is just me looking at the laws, looking at the rules they're putting in place, and looking at the society as unfolding in front of my eyes, and looking at what liberals are saying. I'm not getting this from www.wackoconspiracynutjob.com or something, like some dark web thing. No, it's from CNN, it's from MSNBC, it's from ABC, it's from Fox, it's from all of these mainstream things. They're the ones telling me these are these programs and these are these initiatives and special funding and special rules and special hiring practices and special admissions things that we are creating. Now, unfortunately, my phone's about to overheat because it is quite a hot spring day, which is fine for me. I like the heat, but not so good for my phone. So I will leave it at that I'm just sick and tired. Samuel Jackson, I'm sick and tired of this racist bullshit of this motherfucking plane. I'm sick of this racist bullshit in this motherfucking country. Just stop being racist, I guess is the thing. But that's so freaking stereotypical. Stop being racist, y'all. Stop giving these racists power. Stop letting them have you bow down to the god of social justice and equity. Stop letting them further dampen your future child's success in life because of their race, because everything is stacked against them. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean, it's not a call to violence, but stop them however you can, whether it's a small thing or a big thing. That's what I'm going to do. I fight them at every single turn. Do I physically fight them? No, I'm not a violent person. Fighting as to deny them the ability to do this. And it's by simply just trolling them on Facebook, calling them out on Facebook, making YouTube videos denouncing them. Yes, it's a small thing. No one person can do a lot of things unless they're like a manager of a company or like someone in the government or something. But like if each person does their own part in saying, no, we are done with this racist bullshit. We are not bowing down to the mob. We are not a country of mob justice. We have a rule of law that judges people equally by color. And if we systemically push against this, then, the place would be a better country for everyone. White, Hispanic, black, it didn't matter. It would be better for everyone overall if we stopped this crap. So at every single turn I can find, I'm going to fight against it. It's going to be a small thing, and it may not make a difference overall, but that's what I'm going to do. And if every other person did their part, or even just a small percent of people did their part like me, the country would look much different. It would be more like it was in the 80s and 90s, before all this radical bullshit happened. So that's all I gotta say. That's all. Just a small spiel. Almost a TV episode's worth of information before my phone overheats.